You are watching VNA News Bulletin. I'm Vi Hằng from Hanoi with the major stories.
Grand ceremony celebrates 70 years of Vietnam's first general election. Russian Navy ships visit central Da Nang city. Vietnam sets target of 6.5 to 7% in GDP growth this year.
A solemn ceremony was held in Hanoi on January 6 to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the first generation election of the Vietnamese National Assembly.
Present at the event were Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, President Trương Tấn Sang, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng, National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng, among others. Chairwoman of the Lao National Assembly Pani Yathotu, President of the Cambodian National Assembly Heng Samrin, and representatives from diplomatic missions and international organizations also attended the meeting. In his speech, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng highlighted the importance of the first general election, which took place 5 months right after the country declared its independence. The event went down in Vietnam's history as a vivid milestone, marking a great stride in the establishment of a democratic institution and opening up a new development period for the country. For the first time, Vietnam had a body representing the people's will, aspirations, and right to mastery that decided the country's important issues. He affirmed that the success of the election was the triumph of people's patriotism and the sound revolutionary guidelines adopted by the Communist Party of Vietnam and President Ho Chi Minh. During the course of industrialization and modernization, as well as the process of international integration, the legislative body has tough tasks of increasing the quality and efficiency of its operations to better meet the requirements in the new period of development. Speaking at the ceremony, National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng affirmed that each constitution, each law, each resolution and each important decision made by the legislative body is connected closely with the nation's destiny. Every achievement reaped by the National Assembly was generated by the strength of the great national unity, as well as the support of Vietnamese people and peace lovers all over the world and the international community.
More than 1,000 documents on the National Assembly of Vietnam are being displayed in Hanoi to mark the 70th anniversary of the first generation election. Let's take a look.
The exhibits feature the National Assembly's birth, role, power, and general elections, as well as constitutions ratified by the legislature over the past 70 years. Visitors will have a chance to get an insight into the legislative body's contributions to national liberation and reunification in the past and the present course of reform. During the period, the National Assembly have made important decisions and approved major laws, decrees, and resolutions. The exhibition aims to raise public awareness of the National Assembly, which represents people's will, aspirations, and mastery. It will run until January 12 at the Hanoi National Library.
3 Russian naval ships arrived at Dien Sa port on January 6, beginning a 4-day friendship visit to the central city of Da Nang.
The vessels, consisting of an oil tanker, a rescue ship, and destroyer Bistri, are led by Rear Admiral Yudashev Alexander Yurovich. At the Dien Sa port, the Russian guests were welcomed by senior officers of the Ministry of National Defense and Naval Region 3, Da Nang officials, and Russian ambassador to Vietnam Konstantin Vasilievich Nuvko. During their stay, the Russian officers and sailors are set to lay a wreath at the local memorial to heroic war martyrs and pay courtesy calls to the high commands of Military Region 5 and Naval Region 3 and the Da Nang People's Committee. They will also join in sport exchanges with their counterparts of the Naval Region 3 and visit famous destinations in the Central Region.
Vietnam has set targets of posting a GDP growth of 6.5 to 7% and curbing inflation at around 5 to 7% in the next 5 years. More details coming up next.
The Ministry of Planning and Investment said the country also set to reduce the state budget deficit to 4.8% of GDP compared to 4.9% during the 2011-2015 period. Attention will be paid on transparency of public finance, while budget planning, verification and allocation will be improved at all levels to avoid any overuse, waste and inefficiency. The government plans to get the private sector more involved in socio-economic development, notably in infrastructure, support industries, and high-tech projects through an improved business climate and preferential policies on interest rates and land. Economic restructuring will be accelerated towards sustainable growth with priorities given to state-owned enterprises and the financial markets. Between 2011 and 2015, average economic growth in Vietnam was paced at 6%, lower than 6.32% from 2006 to 2010, and the national targets of 6.5 to 7% set for the period due to the country's economic slowdown in 2011 and 2012. However, the last 5 years also saw a remarkable rise in export revenue, which has tripled GDP growth. Vietnam's exports contributed 0.8% of global exports in 2015, up threefold from 0.25% in 2011. Thanks to the government's market stabilization measures, alongside the slide in oil prices, the consumer price index rose by only 1% in 2015.
Vietnam registered a 9% annual growth in export of agroforestry aquatic products during the 2011-2015 period. More details come up next.
The cumulative export turnover of the agroforestry fisheries products reached $140.6 billion during the 5-year period. Compared to 2010, the export turnover of these products rose 54.6% to $30.14 billion in 2015. 10 exports present in the $1 billion club were rice, coffee, rubber, shellfish, shrimp, cashew nuts, pepper, vegetable, cassava, and woodwork. The sector aims for an export turnover of $31 billion this year and $39 to $40 billion by 2020. To realize these goals, the sector will focus on restructuring and improving production value and efficiency while developing post-harvest preservation and processing.
The Mekong Delta province of Bến Tre exported over 16.2 million tons of coconuts, raking in $4.5 million in 2015. More in the following report.
According to the Bến Tre Coconut Association, China remains the biggest importer of coconuts in 2015. Highly added value products from coconuts such as copra, tint milk, oil, jelly, or musk have been exporting to tens of markets, including demanding ones like the US, the EU, and Singapore. The export of the high-value products have contributed largely to the whole industry turnover, hitting over $138 million in 2015. Over the past 5 years, Bến Tre province earned some $740 million from shipping abroad coconut products, accounting for 30% of its total export revenue. The coconut tree growing area has been expanded from 55,870 hectares in 2011 to 68,167 hectares in 2015. The province exported coconut products to 105 countries in 2015, compared to 70 countries recorded in 2011.
According to real estate company CBRE Vietnam, strong recovery was seen in the Ho Chi Minh City housing market in 2015, particularly in the mid and high-end segments.
During the year, close to 42,000 apartments from 78 projects were put up for sales in the city, up 122% from 2014. More than 36,000 flats were sold in wholesale and retail, marking a 98% increase year-on-year. In the fourth quarter alone, the figure was 10,340. CBRE also reported that foreigners accounted for 41% of customers seeking information on housing in Vietnam during the year, predominantly Singaporeans. Housing prices were on the rise, averaging $212 per square meter, up 4.4% from the previous year. In 2016, several projects in downtown area are expected to list an asking price of more than $7,000 per square meter. Over 45,000 apartments in 90 projects will be made available next year, with a supply of high-end developments rising 20% compared to 2015.
The Civil Aviation Authority of Vietnam has asked domestic carriers, including Vietnam Airlines, Jetstar Pacific, and Vietjet Air, to draw up airfare discount plans before January 10, 2016.
According to the Civil Aviation Authority of Vietnam, the request was made as Jet A1 fuel price continued to fall, which creates positive impacts on the transport market in general and the aviation market in particular. The authority recommended Vietnamese airlines continue providing low-cost tickets and offer additional promotional programs, making air travel easier for customers. In another related move, Vietjet Air has launched a 3-day-long promotion with 50,000 super cheap fares from 0 Vietnam Dong between January 6 and 8 to celebrate its newest routes. These routes connect Pleiku in the Central Highlands with Hải Phòng and Vinh cities and the southern largest economic hub of Ho Chi Minh City with Tuy Hòa in the southern central province of Phú Yên. The Pleiku-Hải Phòng route, whose debut flight is on January 15, is operated at a frequency of 4 round flights per week on every Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. Meanwhile, the Pleiku-Vinh route, starting on January 16th, has a frequency of 3 round flights on every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. The Ho Chi Minh City to Tuy Hòa route is operated on a daily frequency from January 20th.
Pre-Lunar New Year orchard visits to the island district of Trường Sa, or Spratly in English, of Central Khánh Hòa province began on January 5th. We went along to take a look.
The visits bring Tate gifts, fresh food, foodstuff and other necessities to officers, soldiers and residents stationed across islands of Trường Sa district. Representatives of sectors and industries and over 100 reporters from central and local press agencies across the country are participating in the trips. The annual visits to Trường Sa show how much care the party, state, army and people have given to those who are safeguarding the nation's sovereignty over sea and islands.
A Vietnamese photojournalist is showcasing her 45 photos featuring the beauty of Vietnamese women. The exhibition is to raise funds for disadvantaged women in Bình Thuận Province, La Chi Town, where the photos are on display.
Đặng Kim Phương is a photojournalist of the VNA News Agency. The displayed photos were taken during her trips to several provinces from northern to southern Vietnam, where she had chances to talk with numerous women. The images of Vietnamese women going about their daily lives reflect her passion for photography and viewpoint of a female journalist. For more than a decade, the passion has motivated her to compose hundreds of works on various topics, and women are the center of her focus. The exhibition Beauty of Women runs through January the 10th. It is her first solo exhibition. Earlier, her photos were displayed at several exhibitions organized by the Vietnam Photographers Association and others.
And that has wrapped up our daily bulletin. Thank you for tuning in and goodbye from Hanoi.